Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome. So let's see here. A couple things before we start. Before we start with the lesson, we'll give Denny an opportunity. He wanted to share something. So, but just one second. So I moved the recording from back there to here. There was an objection voiced to me last week that people don't want to be recorded, and I try really hard to zoom in on just me so no one gets in there. Well, that didn't happen last week, and so it has been deleted, so no problem. If you do have an issue, though, just by all means let me know. I don't want to offend anyone, but we do record in service as well. And you walk out on any street and you're recorded. I do this so that I can send it to folks that are unchurched that I know. And so I don't know if this is helpful to them or not, but I'm still trying to do that. So, but if you have an objection, by all means, come and talk to me privately. I would appreciate that you don't call me out publicly, but we'll figure it out together. I'll give you my word about that. Okay, Denny.
Okay, time's up. It was just a second. They did a second.
Well, I'm sure that you remember the day that we gave our testimony.
Yes.
And I still have the sweetness and the love in my heart. The testimonies that I've heard those 2 weeks that we gave our testimony. The words you spoke, the story you told, how you came about to know the Lord, what the Lord has done in your life. It's still a thrill to me to recall that time that my ears and my heart heard the testimonies. I want to thank you very much. It was great. It's not many people will say who'd like to give their testimony. When that time comes, you want to jump at the moment because it won't happen very often. But you almost have to say, "May I give my testimony?" So thank you for saying that. And we just popped up like popcorn, saying, "I will." So, thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Denny. And it's also, excuse me, good practice for when we're out in the world. You know, the word. What does the word tell us? To be ready all and always, to give a reason for the hope that is within us. It's a dying world. Pastor Sandy and I had just a quick discussion this morning about Islam. And so I shared with him something that I think is really cool. Not about our lesson at all, just take a quick moment here. But in the Quran says that the book and the people of the book is true, and that the Quran cannot be corrupted. Okay, follow me. Who are the people of the book? The Jews.
Oh, yeah, the Jews.
What is the book? The book is the Torah. So in the Quran, that cannot be corrupted, it says that the book and the people of the book, it's true. Well, if that's true, then the Bible is true. And if the Bible is true, then Islam is false. So anyway, okay. Yeah.
Those poor guys, when they die, they think they're going to go to heaven, they go to hell.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. And Mark, you missed that in the beginning, but I instructed or informed everyone that we are recording. Okay, so we're going to start out with a short video. It's the Bible Project, and we'll actually look at 2 short videos from them today. The first one is a summary of chapters 1 through 11. So we'll take a quick look at that, and then we'll start our lesson. What'd you think of the lesson?
Oh, I love it.
You loved it? Yeah. Yeah, it was difficult.
I read it all. Yeah.
Come on. Okay. Every week I do this. Sorry, we're waiting on our internet connection.
Mike, while we're waiting for that,
Yep.
I just want to make a quick announcement for a couple of things for women's ministries. First of all, we do have a funeral service here tomorrow that we'll be providing a meal for. So if you can't help tomorrow, I understand a lot of people work, but we'll be setting up the tables and things right after church service. So if any able-bodied people want to help with that, we'll do that right after service today. And then tomorrow, if you do have time, we'll have slots available to help from about 8:30 to 10:30 or so, and then again from probably 12:30 till about 2:30 or so. So if any of those time slots fit in, we would welcome the help. And then the other thing, just to remind you, it looks like we did have quite a few people sign up for our Thanksgiving meal, which is next Sunday already. So that sign up sheet is not on the bulletin board where it usually is. It's on our table that has the goodies and the other sign up sheet. So if you wouldn't mind signing up for your things today, then that gives me kind of a good idea. I'll take the sheet with me probably tomorrow because I'll be here for the funeral, because I usually have people text me that week before, hey, what are you short on? So if everybody who hasn't signed up but is planning on bringing something next week, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it's still circling, so I don't know. We'll jump into there whenever we have an internet connection. And Mark, I moved, just so I told everybody this in the beginning, but you weren't here for it. So I moved the recording from the back of the room to right here, so that it is for sure only capturing me as a video. Audio, it will be everyone. But okay. We're on page 18 of your study guide. Okay, so I'm going to ask the questions, and by all means, jump in any chance you get and any time you want. On days 1 through 3, God gave form to what had been formless. Darkness of chaos, and in the left column below, write how God did this and observe the repeated words like separated and divided. And then we'll go into question B. So in that little chart that you have on page 18, how did you fill that out? My goodness. Anybody? Sorry, I'm technologically challenged. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're going to look at a video. Maybe.
story of God and just one man, Abraham. These two parts are connected by a hint.
Okay.
First book of the Bible, and its storyline divided into two main parts. Chapters 1 through 11, which tell the story of God and the whole world. And then there's chapters 12 through 50, which zoom in and tell the story of God and just one man, Abraham, and then his family. These two parts are connected by a hinge story at the beginning of chapter 12. In this design, it gives us a clue to how to understand the message of the book as a whole and how it introduces the story of the Bible. The book begins with God taking the disorder and the darkness described in the second sentence. God brings out of it order, beauty, and goodness, makes a world where life. And God makes these creatures called human or Adam in Hebrew. He makes them in his image, which has to do with their role and purpose in God's world. Humans are made to be reflections of God's character out into the world. They're appointed as God's representatives to rule his world on his behalf, which in context means to harness all of its potential, care for it, and make it a place where even more life can grow. God blesses this key word. He gives them a garden, a place from which they begin starting to build this. Now the key is that the humans have a choice about how they're going to go about building this world, and that's represented by the tree of the knowledge of good. Up till now, God has provided and defined what is good and what is not. But now God is giving the humans the dignity and the freedom of choice. Are they going to trust God's definition of good and evil, or are they going to seize autonomy and define good and evil for themselves? The stakes are huge. To rebel against God is to embrace death, because you're turning away from the giver of life himself. This is represented by the tree of life. And so in chapter 3, as a mysterious figure, a snake enters into this. Snake's given no introduction other than it's creature that God made. And it becomes clear that the creature in rebellion against God, and it wants to lead the humans into rebellion and death. The snake tells a different story about the tree and the choice. It says that seizing the knowledge of good and evil are not going to bring death, but it's actually the way to life and becoming like God himself. And the irony of this is tragic, because we know the humans are already like God. They were made to reflect God. But instead of trusting God, the humans seize autonomy, take the knowledge of good and evil for themselves, and in an instant, the whole story spirals out. The first casualty is human relationships. The man and the woman, they suddenly realize how vulnerable they are. Now, they can't even trust each other. So they make clothes and they hide their bodies from one another. The second casualty is the intimacy between God and the humans is lost. So they go run and hide from God, and then when God finds them, they start this game of blame shifting about who rebelled first. Now, right here, the story stops. There's a series of short poems where God declares to the snake and then to the humans tragic consequences of their actions. God first tells the snake that despite its apparent victory, it is destined to defeat death. God promises that one day a seed or a descendant will come from the woman who's going to deliver a lethal strike to the snake's head, which sounds like great news, but this victory is going to come at a cost, because the snake too will deliver a lethal strike to the descendant's heel as it's being struck. Very mysterious promise of this wounded victory. But in the flow of the story so far, you see this is an act of God's grace. The humans, they've just rebelled, and what does God do? He promises to rescue them. But this doesn't erase the consequences of the humans' decision. So God informs them that now every aspect of their life together, at home and out in the field, is going to be fraught with grief and pain because of the rebellion, all leading to their death. From here, the story then spirals downward. Chapters 3 through 11, they trace the widening ripple effect of the rebellion and of human relationships fracturing every life. So there's a story about two brothers, Cain and Abel. Cain is so jealous of his brother that he wants to murder him. God warns him not to give in to the temptation, but he does anyway. He murders him. So Cain then goes on to build a city where violence and oppression reign. And this is all epitomizing the story of Lamech. He's the first man in the Bible to have more than one wife, accumulating them like property. And then he goes on to sing a short song about how he's more violent and vengeful than Cain ever was. After this, we get an odd story about the sons of gossip, which could refer to evil angelic beings, or it could refer to ancient kings who claimed that they descended from God. And like Lamech, they acquire as many wives as they wanted, and they produce the Nephilim, these great warriors. Whichever view is right, the point is that humans are building kingdoms that fill God's world with violence and more. In response, we're told that God is broken. Humanity is ruining his good world, and they're ruining each other. And so out of a passion to protect the goodness of his world, he washes it clean of humanity's evil. But he protects one blameless human, Noah, and his family, and he commissions him as a new Adam. He repeats the divine blessing and commissions him to go out into the world. And so our hopes are really high, but then Noah fails too, and also in a garden. He goes and he plants a vineyard, and he gets drunk out of his mind. And then one of his sons, Ham, does something shameful to his father in. And so here we have our new Adam, naked and ashamed, just like the first. The downward spiral begins. It all leads to the foundation of the city of Babylon. The people of ancient Mesopotamia, they come together around this new technology they have with brick. And they can make cities and towers bigger and faster than anybody's ever done before. And they want to build a new kind of tower that will reach up to the gods, and they will make a great name for themselves. It's an image of human rebellion and arrogance, the garden rebellion now with God. And so God humbles their pride and scatters them. Now this is a diverse group of stories, but you can see they're all exploring the same basic point. God keeps giving humans a chance to do the right thing with this world, and humans keep ruining it. These stories are making a claim that we live in a good world that we have turned God, that we've all chosen to define good and evil for ourselves, and so we all contribute to this world of broken relationships, conflict, violence, and ultimately death. But there's hope. God promised that one day a descendant would come, the wounded victor who will defeat evil. And so despite humanity's evil, God is determined to bless and rescue. So the big question, of course, is what is God going to do? And the next story, the Hinge, offers. But for now, that's what Genesis 1 through 11 is all about.
Okay, we'll look at the rest of that when we get to that point. But for now, all right, catch that light, please. So the question on page 18, there's a chart that asks us to fill that out. I won't ask for a show of hands, but how many did? Nice, nice. So question, there's 1, 2, and 3 on the left side form. How did you fill that out? And what does it mean? Explain kind of your thought process as you went through there.
I want to say something before
Yes.
that. The earth was formless and void, and darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was moving over the surface of the water. Okay, so there's already water. Now, what happened next? God created light. What is light? Okay, then he created everything else. So I asked my phone, is there electricity in everything that was created? It said yes. But we don't call it electricity, we call it eons. And that's, to me, very, very important. There's electricity in everything that was created. And the sun and the moon were not created until the fourth day, but light the first day.
Yeah, there's an
Energy.
oops, excuse me. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, I agree. So that's a question. We'll cover that. So she brought it up. Good job. Light was created on the first day, and yet the stars, moon, and sun was not created till the fourth day. Okay. When we get there, what I will tell you is I have an opinion, but I don't know. And as a matter of fact, you don't either. Remember what we talked about last week in Job 38, 38:2. I'll just read it again. Who is it that darkens counsel with words without wisdom? And where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Now, there are certain things we can speculate on, but we don't know. A culture talking to an ancient group of people that we're trying to translate down to a present day vernacular, there are going to be issues and debates and discussions, certainly. We can't even get from verse 1 to verse 2 without addressing a very big and glaring one that divides Christianity, and that's the gap theory. You know, was there a chaotic earth? Was there a new earth? So we'll cover all that, but until those come up, let's look at the square on the upper left, and it's marked number 1.
I wrote, God spoke and let there be light and separated light from the darkness. Light was called day and darkness was called night. And in between all that, what really got me was it really right-sized me.
It really what? I'm sorry?
It just kind of right-sized me. When you think about, there's never been another that could speak something into existence. So he starts with light and separating the light from the darkness, but he created time, space, matter, all that while where he's doing these first few things, speaking it into existence. He's also creating time, space, matter. It just blew me away. There was so much.
Mm-hmm. And well, we talked about last week, when did all this start? And so we heard 6,000 years, 10,000 years, up to 20 billion years. Well, we don't know. We do know this much, though. The Word tells us, and we believe the Word, that it was the beginning. Now, when the beginning was, I don't know. And you can have opinion, and we can debate it for sure, but...
Still there in the beginning.
Yep.
The earth was formless, it was already there.
Yes. Yeah. So what's your question?
That's not my question, that's what it says. The earth was formless and empty,
Mm-hmm.
and darkness was over the face of the water. That was there before he created light.
Yeah, formless and void. The Hebrew there is tohu wabohu. Those two words, tohu. Tohu means formless, okay? Wabohu means, it can mean a number of things, but one of the meanings is ruined. Well, that would give some credence to dispensationalists and others that believe that there was a previous chaotic earth. Really, I don't want this class to devolve into that kind of debate over it. I mean, you can have your opinions for sure, as I do mine. But really, for the purpose of here, the Word says in the New Testament that the gifts of the Spirit are to be for the edification, exhortation, and comfort of the body of believers. That's what I want for this class. So that we talk about things to build each other up, steel sharpens steel, to edify each other, exhort each other to goodness, and comfort each other. I'll say this, that I have a lot of opinions about me, as you do about you, but I will declare to you that the only goodness of me is the goodness of Christ in me. And so I've struggled with that my entire walk, trying to figure out what this means to walk, what my walk means, how am I to walk and give glory to God. Are there issues? Certainly. But I default to 2 John 10 that says, if anyone comes to you expressing anything other than the birth, death, burial, resurrection, ascension of Jesus Christ, you're commanded to do 2 things. What are they? Don't let him into your house, and don't God bless him. Don't let him into your house, and neither bid him Godspeed. Because if it doesn't have to do with the 5 irreducible truths of the gospel, Paul calls it babbling. But what's the point? If it doesn't affect those 5 truths, then we can debate it. That's fine, no problem. And I like it, actually. I like challenges. I like to debate it. But let's not get caught up in the debate. Let's just see God in his goodness and learn what he has for us, maybe at face value. Okay, so what else?
Remember, God spoke, let there be expanse in the midst of the waters, separating the water from the earth, or the water from the water. The water in the heavens and in the water below.
Separate the water from the water. Create a vault. Yeah, if we try to understand that, good, we can try to, but it's difficult. We have the pillars, we have the canopy, we have the debate of young earth, old earth. There are all of these debates. Now, I don't want to spend the time in this class on that unless we have a specific question, then for sure we will. But I don't want to do anything that's going to detract from your experience here, trying to figure out what Genesis is all about, or my experience from this perspective. So
The waters above, that's the clouds. The waters above and below, that's the seas and the oceans and the lakes and the streams.
yes, and so there is a literal approach to it, which is where you're at. I get it. There's a symbolic approach to it as well. Yes, Mary.
Well, I'm going through this, and because we had just not too long ago studied John, it is amazing to me how much John and Genesis parallel each other. And in this very first question, there is a verse in John that says, speaking of Jesus, in him was light, and that in him was light, and that light was the light of mankind. The light shines in the darkness,
And the darkness.
and the darkness did not overcome it.
Yeah.
But I think it's John 1:4-5.
Yeah. Do you remember?
It parallels.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. That's awesome. Here's an illustration that I shared. You may remember this. I told you this is how I was teaching my kids when they were growing up. They're in their 50s now, not kids anymore. They have kids of their own. But I was trying to convey to them a biblical truth about light and darkness. Do you remember me doing this? Okay, so I brought them in a room, turned the lights out. Okay, here's darkness. It represents evil. I mean, this is very simplistic, but I was dealing with kids too. And I was a kid raising kids, by the way. And so here we're in a room of darkness. And so I said, okay, let's turn the light on. Does darkness ever prevail? It has a moment, for sure. It can have a moment, but it will never win out. And I thought for a child, that was a great illustration. Even as a young adult who was a kid raising kids, it was a great learning lesson for me as well. Okay, so what else did you have? Oh, yes, Angela.
I just wanted to say thank you. Most of us, or all of us, appreciate this class. And even if we don't always agree, it gives us the opportunity to open our eyes so that we can look at things from a different perspective. This is good for all of us. So I want you to always be aware that we all do appreciate it.
Thank
Even if
you.
we don't always agree. It makes us look and maybe rethink and reconsider.
Thank you for saying that. Absolutely. And just for the record, a permanent record, I learn from you every week the stuff that you share. And I think just make sure that you know that when you think you know it all, you don't know it all.
But God does.
What's that?
I see, but God does.
But God does.
You know, as I've been reading some of his stuff, and I shouldn't see stuff that sounds not very religious.
Lord, every time